So we're gonna get into it. I think let's see if my caller is on. Let's see, 662-2418.
Yo, Yusef, my man, what's going on? This Yahashua, Yahashua.
What's up, man? What's up? What's going on, man?
Israel Yahweh, man, also known as Yushin Ayin. Right? Yeah, the son of Yahashua Ayah. So, yeah, what's going on, man? Beautiful day, and thank you. I'd like to thank you, the host, and all the listeners. You know, and community. I'd like to thank you, Yahweh, you, hey, Father, putting this show together. I'd like to thank Brother David, and also people that called in that I may have not heard. But also, I'd like to say thank you also, you know, the kind you was, and giving your input. Because everything is coming together. So we're going to work, we're going to all try to put together as a team. We're going to leave the eye out of the equation. So everybody, we're going to try to build a team so we can try to come up out of this hole together. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not on the show to be competitive or nothing of that nature. I don't have those desires. The only thing I have a desire is to link with the man, each man and woman that's out there who cares enough about their situation, and also who loves the Creator, care enough to try to change the situation. So, you know, I'm not in it for any benefits or none of that, or even what they have to offer. So I'm just in it for justice and have a peace of mind and serenity. And I mean, as far as in this lifetime, that's about best to getting a peace of mind and serenity. So I'd like to thank you, each and every you personally. So just say that. But yeah, go ahead, Yusef, man. Go ahead, go and run it down before we get started or whatever.
Okay, first of all, is my voice coming through okay?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. You know, I talked to you one-on-one yesterday, and I was very impressed. You were on the show Friday, you called in, and I was very impressed with the amount of knowledge that you had and your insight. I could just tell that, you know, when you're in this game, when you do run into someone else who has been involved in this, you can just kind of tell. You say, okay, yeah, that brother right there, he know what's up. He's been, you know, it's like I always try to tell people, it's like, you know, when you meet the devil, you know, everybody always talking about, well, you know, the devil exists. And then one day you meet the devil, you know, you meet this devil, and then you meet him one-on-one in privacy. So then when you go and try to tell other people that you met the devil, everybody thinks you're crazy. The only person you really can talk to about the devil is other people who met the devil too. You know, they say, yeah, I met him. I say, yeah, remember you look like, yeah, you know. So this is kind of like one of those situations. It's like, well, you know, when you get involved in this real deep, you know, you find out information, you see what's going on, you see that there is a spiritual aspect to it. You see why people do not see what's going on, because everything involved with this is not readily apparent. You have to actually get in it and do some things for things to actually be revealed to you. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Most definitely agree with that.
Yeah. It's, you know, so it's a thing, you know, I know when I first, you know, got into this, you know, started, you know, my friends were telling me, you know, what they were doing with court and so forth. I kind of, you know, I really didn't, kind of, you know, these were my friends, and they were intelligent. I respected them. But I really didn't see what they were talking about. You should listen with fascination, with the stories they tell. And then when I first finally got my opportunity to actually get involved with this, I said, wow, I can't believe they are actually doing this thing. They're selling bonds and, you know, sinking people. And one thing that impressed me about you yesterday is you was talking about the attorneys, how they are not supposed to be doing what they were doing. Because I understood after studying the clerk's practices and averaging and so forth, that these are couple admiralty proceedings, and to initiate an action, you have to have a bond in place. And they never have a bond, but they usually never have to have it because, we usually do something crazy like go get an attorney, then we plead out and all that. Maybe you want us to elaborate on that a little bit for the people out there a little bit.
All right. Yo, Yusef, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I was just, I don't know if everyone else is hearing it through. It was coming, I don't know if they messing with the frequencies and kind of chopping it, you know what I'm saying? So I was just, I want to know, do I sound like that on your end?
Yeah, at first you were, but now you're clear. But go ahead and just take over. You're real clear. Just go on and take over.
Okay. All right. All right. What I want to touch on is pretty much what everyone in this country is pretty much experiencing when you come into one of these agents or one of these private contractors, okay, which are foreign agents. And let me start off by saying that under the IRC Federal Reserve, Title 12, Section 411, there is no money, okay? And I want you guys to go ahead and start off and pretty much dot that down. You can look that up. But under the Federal Reserve Act, under Title 12, Section 411, there is no money, okay? And also, the people are the credit line, okay? That's McFadden, 1932, 1962. This is in court case law, okay? People are the credit line, and signature is the money. Signature is the collateral. It is the money that is made off the property. The signature is what makes the money off the property, okay? So these courts are committing inside trading, you know what I'm saying, act in which we should bring these judges, you know what I'm saying, and also these sheriffs on impeachment charges, okay? Now, let me say that once again, Title 12, Section 411, there's no money, okay? McFadden, the credit line, Supreme Court case, 1932, 1962, people are the credit line, signature is the collateral, not the person, money is made off the signatures, not the property, okay? So I want to put that out there, and just and I want y'all to put that to the side because we're gonna go in real deep. One thing they are violating is the Highway Safety Act and federal funding, which means 40% of the proceeds when they bring you into court for any taxes or anything like that. That means that the subdivisions or the money that is put aside for the public, you know, whether each individual group based off your ethnicity, you know, have a right to this money, you know what I'm saying, and you're able to put the money back into the community, build your parks, your schools, and et cetera, what have you, which they are not doing. Now, I'm going to get into these bonds. Basically, with these bonds is, I don't care if it's a traffic case, whatever it is, criminal, mortgage, dealing with a lawsuit, anything. The bottom line is what they are targeting us and what we all are going to jail for is basically for tax evasion. Now, I'm finna explain this. We finna learn today what goes on. Now, on an alternate valuation, on a carryover basis, is why, the reason why, and I'm going to say this again, an alternate valuation on a carryover basis is why these attorneys and everybody who you deal with has a tax liability on their Title 26, 2032, capital A, lowercase e, 11, period. Please write this down so y'all can look this up and bring this up to these judges and these most attorneys, and a lot of them don't even know about this. Now, I'm going to say it one more time. An alternate valuation on a carryover basis is why these attorneys, judges, and everybody who you deal with has a tax liability, which is on their Title 26, 2032, capital A, lowercase e11. If you have a qualified error, which is what these attorneys and judges and all these public servants, because all of them are public servants, are claiming to be a qualified error on your estate. And it says it in subsection 11. If a qualified error makes a written application to the secretary for determination of the maximum amount of the additional tax which is may be imposed by subsection C with respect to the qualified error interest, the secretary, as soon as possible in an event within 1 year after making such application, shall notify the error of such maximum amount. The qualified error on furnishing a bond in such amount for such period as may be required shall be charged from the personal liability from the additional tax imposed by subsection C, shall be entitled to have to a receipt or a writing showing the discharge. Now, they supposed to give you a receipt when you go to court. They're supposed to have 2 receipts that they supposed to give you going to court. They supposed to give you a receipt from the money order transaction from the OID, which they are not filling out in court, which you supposed to apply, which is a 4490 form and a 3949A form, which in court these attorneys and judges is supposed to be filling out. So here it is. I'm finna go into what this actually means, and this is in the IRC, Internal Revenue Code handbook and guide, that they are specifically supposed to have a bond. Now, anything pertaining to a felony, your bond case may goes up to probably about $4 million, which means that they have to have a bond or either pay the liability disability on the tax bond, which is about $1 million, which comes out to about, on the bond, if they had the bond, they'd be responsible for $1.5 million on any federal felony case that they trying to bring up towards you. Now, this is what I be bringing up and trying to get other people to bring up in court, is to ask these judges and these people who is furnishing the bond in order to show that they have no tax liability. Is it me or you? You know what I'm saying? Do y'all understand that what the bond is? Okay? The bond is not the fact that they pay it off the birth certificate or what have you. It's the surety bond that they have to have, and as you as a beneficiary, you can demand that they have a bond in amount of no less than $100,000 to put up for the case. In your case, since the birth certificates are worth billions of dollars, then they need to be putting up $1 million per case. So let me explain that. If they have 10 cases, they supposed to have at least $100,000 bond per case. So that means they got to have a $100,000 bond for this case, that case, that case, that case. Whether if it's 100 cases, they do not have money or make enough money to be able to bring you into court and claim a charge against your estate. Not even one. So how all these courts feel when these folks are not insured? Because why? They gave up their citizenship and joined the foreign powers of the United Nations. So here it is. Mostly our problems come from what? From the police department. The sheriffs pretty much don't even bother you, but the police department, who is basically a private contractor, which they claiming that they represent 911. The color red represent Red Cross. Red Cross represents 911. The blue color, the lights that they represent, that represent the blue waters that they coming over the ocean from the United Nations imposing laws on the land of the Republic. So anytime when they turn the blue lights on you as a living, breathing man traveling in your capacity, not committing a crime, they are not supposed to hinder you from your progress unless you committed a crime with your vehicle. Other than that, it's a felony for them to even turn the lights on you. So when they step out of their cruiser, they got a cruiser, that means a ship, they are trespassing on the land of the Republic, which means that they are no more than a man with a gun. Period. And the sheriffs are allowing these people to do that. These folks are really ain't got no gun. They only supposed to invest in crimes dealing with corporations or ocean, or when folks breaking ocean laws pertaining to a corporation. They're never supposed to deal with us as a living, breathing man or woman. But yet and still, they bring us into these courts. You know what I'm saying? First of all, if they bring a charge against you and arrest you, you're supposed to immediately go before a judge first, before you even go into booking and a holding tank. But yet and still, they hold you, kidnap you, get your fingerprints, force you into a contract on a bond, right? And that's the only way you can be able to release yourself in order to fight these criminal fraud charges. But what the point is, when you go into these courts, ask them, who has the bond? Who is liable for the bond? Now, let me go into further, because I'm finna go in real deep, and I'm finna go into my so I want y'all to listen very carefully. Now, they have to have the bond. They have 100% tax liability on your estate. So what they're trying to claim that you must pay essentially what your statement illegally paid, then you have a 100% tax liability if they do not have the bond in place. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the presumptive death certificate. They are claiming to be a qualified heir on your estate, which is the all caps name. They are saying that they can come in, rape your estate, but they don't get rid of their liability to do unless they put up the bond. And there are very few attorneys that know this, and I know how many judges probably don't know this either. But how many cases that you can go in and nail them on the discovery? You either put up or shut up. Either you have it or you don't have it. You know what I'm saying? Now, the thing is that these are some questions that we need to ask them or put into the contract. You know, when we put in challenging the jurisdiction as far as the writ of discovery, you hit them with that breach of contract if they don't put up the bond. They have to put up the bond to maintain and get out of their tax liability. And that's when you come in and you ask them under discovery, do you have the tax liability for your alternate valuation on your carryover basis? You're claiming to come in here as part of my estate as a qualified heir. First of all, you're not even a qualified debt collector. You were out of running with that avenue a long time ago. So now on the carryover basis, can you put up the required bond to get out of your tax liability? Who has the tax liability? Me or you? It's always got to be them. They always, because they're the one that's bringing the fraudulent charges. So you don't have to put up the bond, and they do. Okay? So what you do is you ask the judge, you know what I'm saying, who is raising the estate. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to put it off on the prosecutor attorney. Then you turn to the prosecutor attorney. Do you have the 1040 for this case? You have the 1099A acquisition and the cancellation. Have you filled out the monetary order, and have you paid the necessary $1.5 million in order for you to deal with this case? If not, I'm taking care of that immediately with the IRS, filling out the 3949A form with the W-9 as the cover sheet, filling out the 211 form, send it to both places of the whistleblowers. You send it to the United States CID, which is the Criminal Investigation Division. You also send it to the Treasury Inspector General and the State Attorney General. Okay? And that's how you nail these suckers, you know what I'm saying? By turning their ass in. You know what I'm saying? Because they are not supposed to be in these courts because they are not licensed and insured at all. And they do not have the bond. So nobody ain't supposed to be in these court cases at all. So that's why now it's very understood when you stand on your square and you tell them you don't understand, and the judge and them go berserk, schizophrenic crazy, and then they want to hold you in contempt and send you off to a mental evaluation, which is schizophrenic because they knowing that every time that they come in that court and they sit in there, they gambling. They gambling with their livelihood, and they gambling with their life. And they know this. You know what I'm saying? And they know this. So, and think not. Hello?
Hey, you still there? You still there?
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Still there?
Yeah.
I don't know what that was. Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, what I'm saying is, well, we need this thing. If all of us get together and come in on this tax thing on these folks, I'm telling you, right now, all them judges and them prosecutors and all them attorneys, there's going to be a long-ass soup line for them. And they're going to spend plenty of years in the pokey. See, this is not what we bringing up. You know what I'm saying? About the tax liability. Now, I'm going to give you all examples. Like, okay, now, you know, I hear what he's saying, but you know what I'm saying? I kind of hear what he's saying. All right, so let's switch. I'm going to give you an example. Like I was talking to Brother Yusef the other day. I'm going to give you all an example. And I want y'all to kind of put the players in the same place that I'm about to use this example. Let's say Game Show Price is Right. Okay, everybody pretty much know about the Price is Right. Okay, all right. Now you got the investors, the sponsors, the directors, the executives that's coming up with this idea for this game show, which is the Price is Right. They are the investors of this game show idea, but the people is the one who is the customers that's going to pretty much fund the investment because they looking for a return on this. So now, they game show consists of, they buy all these prizes and gifts and trips and stuff like that. And when you know you purchase anything, you have to pay the taxes on that. So they're never planning on paying the taxes. That's where you come in as the contestant and the participant. You pay your little money and your little entry fee, okay? And then you get on the game show, and they tell you to come on down. So now you're a contestant, you pay your entry fee. That means you're a co-beneficiary to the Price is Right. They are the executor, right? They claim to be the executor, but you are the co-beneficiary, right? Now, check it out. Say you win $100,000 in prizes. You win trips over to Switzerland, wherever it may be. You don't win furniture, brand new car. You don't want some skis, and hell, you don't even go skiing. Here's the catch. You didn't read the fine print when you paid the little money as the entry fee to be what? A co-beneficiary, said that you will be liable for the taxes for whatever prize and earnings and winnings. So here it is on the $100,000. You're not expecting that you were going to have to pay $10,000 for the taxes on the proceeds in order for you to what? Get the prize and stuff you win. You don't pay the $10,000, you don't get the prizes. But they hold you responsible because you signed the contract. Now, let's say, for instance, they never did got anybody participate in the Price is Right. Who's responsible for the taxes for those gifts and stuff that they bought? They are. Now, you get my point? So they the one that's initially responsible for the liability and the taxes. So that's where your signature, they come in to bully you into signing the money order process that you never see, which is that they saying that you're responsible for the $1.5 million taxes on the case. So that's why you as the trustee sits in there in the pokey. Now, the amity courts that they use and set up, they use equity and trust law. They always turn it over to trust law, so they're using the Holy Trinity in these courts. So what we have to do under the Power of Appointment Act of 1951, we have to rebut the position of the trustee that they already set it up. Now, when you go into court, you got the judge, well, so-called judge, the prosecutor, who is the crown, and then they got you. So they got the Trinity set up in court. Now, if you read the scriptures are set up the same way with the pyramid. At the top, you have the grantor, who is the Father, the Creator. Down on the left, you got the Son, who is the beneficiary, who is the grantee. Okay? Then you have over here in the right corner is the Holy Ghost. It's the ghost. You got the living, breathing Father, living, breathing man, but you got the ghost over here that's not entitled to anything. Now, you put those same pieces, plug in where the Father at, the judge is sitting up there. He done put himself up there as the executor or the grantor. The crown or the prosecutor is over there in the corner where the Holy Ghost is, but he claims to be the beneficiary. He's not a living entity. He's an agent. So, but he's claiming for damages, and he claiming the police, claiming all the proceeds and for you to go to jail. You over there that's supposed to be the beneficiary, you sitting over there as a trustee because that's how they set pieces up in court. What you have to do is rebut being the trustee and be the executive and the beneficiary and point them as fiduciary trustees over all said matter because they are the public servants. They are the trustees. And they can't get out of this. And this is trust law that they can't get out and they can't break. Okay, let's go a little further. So it's based on them dealing with the trust in the estate. So here it is. They're coming in claiming to be the estate beneficiary, so we have to rebut that. And one way you stop the cases is ask them for these taxes on these liabilities and ask them for them 1099 and them bond forms. See, and a lot of times they ain't even finna be too serious with that because they know where you finna go with that. They know you're a little bit too smart and you done figured out that, hey, man, y'all the one responsible for the tax liability. Y'all filing an insurance claim on me. Y'all got to prove the damages. Where's the injured party? Because there's only three reasons why one should come to court. Injury to the body, injury to property, or breach of contract. Y'all have none of those three. Now, let's go any further. So I want to take that price of right so far as paying the taxes. This is what they're doing to you. Same scenario. Now, when you have the money order to take care of, the IRS forms, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and attach the 4490, look these forms up, and also the 8281. These are the forms that the courts are supposed to have and fill out. And these are the receipts, you know what I'm saying, from the OID. And I'm gonna go over how to fill out these money orders in 1099s, and I'm going to go over them step by step, too, later on in this conversation so we can get that right, so we can show y'all how to take care of this on the finance side. Okay? Now, also, what I want to go into is that, let's see, I'm going over my notes right quick, because I was talking off the top of my head, so I'm trying to get back on where I'm pinpointing these notes. All right. Now, the OID money order process instructions, the OID, with the outstanding issue discount, the courts must file the 1099A acquisition, 1099C. Both of these forms shows that you are the beneficiary, all right, and also, and that they are not just receiving a gift and not paying the taxes on it. Now, the 1090 acquisition and the 1099C, also you file in what is the 1099 OID, and you follow up with the W-9. Now, I'm looking at my 1099. I got a 1096. Now, the 1096 form is supposed to go with every one of these forms, cover sheet. Okay? Now, I'm looking at, if you had a 1099 form in front of you, it would say payers at the top box, name such and such. You will put the all caps name. The address of the all caps name will be the birth certificate file number, because that's the only address that the all caps name and residence can be. And then the city and code will be the address of the state, city and state that you was born in. Okay? Now, the recipient name, it is going to be you, and then the payee is going to be them. So it's going to be your board of directors. You're going to include all the judges, all the attorneys. You're going to go back and include the state attorney general, the governor. You're going to go back to your birth state if you're in another state, and you're going to include the state attorney general. You're going to include everybody that's involved as far as the hospital, the directors, because these are the people who started and sold with the slave when they made your mom an informant with that birth certificate. So you got to go back and point all of them under fiduciary. It goes back to the birth state, to the hospital, to whoever was the CEO of that hospital, who was the lawyers at that time, whoever signed on that birth certificate. You put all of them, and you put the lien on all of them suckers, because they are the one that's responsible who started putting you in that 14th Amendment category with that birth certificate, with that nonsense. All right? Now this is also what I want to get into. After and what they do, they turn you into a note, a warranty, and a deed. Okay. Now, Section 7201. This is the law. This is the law in the IRC manual that states that any person who will fully attempt in any manner to evade, defeat any tax imposed by this title or payment thereof shall, in addition to other penalties provided by law, be guilty of a felony. Upon conviction thereof shall be fined no more than $100,000 or $500,000 in cases of a corporation, or in prison not more than 5 years or both, together with the cost of persecution. Now, this is a nasty part, not giving the W-9. They supposed to have the W-9, so you ask them for the W-9, you ask them for their EIN, you ask them for their tax identification number. You know what I'm saying? You ask them for these in court, okay? Now, you have defense and recoupment and set off of debt when you do this. And this does not disclose their true identity and not being a holder. You is the actual holder, not them. So they didn't have the bond in place. They couldn't meet the qualifications of the qualifier. They never transferred anything into the REMIC, REMIC, which is real estate mortgage investment conduits, where the tax return and the REMIC for the trust, they have to produce the trust tax return. They can't do it. They won't do it because they know they didn't transfer anything. So that's when you get into the 7201 violations, and you get into all the other criminal violations that you document on the 4490 form, and you take them and say, fine, you're going to sit behind in the pokey. You're going to do a lot of damn years for your tax evasion because you are traveling in the community as the skies on American Express, Inc. or Visa, and you not have paid anything to overcome your insolvent disability. When you gave up your citizenship, you became a citizenship to another foreign alliance that has all the 4 elements that makes a country. Now let's deal with the 4 elements that makes a country. You have to have a name to be ordered to have a name or a country. You have to have people. You have to have boundaries. You have to have money. You got to have money. This country ain't got no money. So that means that everybody is what? Pre-tax exempt. You tax exempt because there's no money. See? So you can take the same damn dollar that's in your pocket, that is a Federal Reserve note, which is an IOU note. You can take a damn piece of paper and write, I owe you $1,000. MBS, mortgage-backed securities. Or put TS on there, treasury bonds. And you should be able to use that and pay your bills and discharge your debt, which you can. Because why? It's a negotiable instrument. If you use any EFTs, all you got to do is take their ass to court, sue them under Title 42, civil rights violation, negotiable instrument, bam. Public Law 7310, Chapter 48, Statute 48 through 112. That's the law you argue in court about the debts being paid off under Emergency Bankruptcy Clause Act of Roosevelt of 1932. That public law right there is what you argue about your mortgage, your house being paid off, your vehicles, your cars, anything. That law right there they can't get out of. That's the whole HJR 192 House Joint Resolution. All that's up under that law, under that title law. Now, let's get back to these violations. Now, you in an unlawful detainer, and what they claiming, they filing quiet titles on you, okay? Now, you can hit them by them not being a qualified debt collector. Now, let's get back on that, okay? Now, what we want to do is we want to also take these questions. Now, I want people to listen to these questions very, very carefully. And these are some questions that you use in your discovery. Okay? Now, in a lawful detainer, and then not being a qualified debt collector, okay, with not being a holder in due course, laundering of money instrument, that's USC 1956. There are so many sections where we can go in and file suits against these people. You know what I'm saying? These companies, we go in, we can hit these banks and everything, and these court systems for these money laundering and sentences crime in perpetuity. I say accept everything, okay? When you go in court and I say, I accept everything you've done to me on the proof of claim that, number one, that I am a decedent, that I have accepted the liability of the decedent, that I am not the beneficiary of the estate, and that you do not have a tax liability for the ultimate valuation on a carryover basis, and that you have put up your bond for your tax liability. And finally, that you are not making a claim on my estate. Now, you can answer those 5 questions, which they're not going to be able to answer. You took my estate, you took my gift, you took my signature, you took my security note, and you didn't pay the taxes on the gift. Therefore, you did all these nasty-ass things, so you want to go to jail, spend 20-some years, $500,000 fine, not just for the money laundering, but go in and pay the penalties on the 7201 and all the penalties on the 7206 and all other things. You know what I'm saying? Now, y'all got some real firepower. See, this is what y'all need to be going in the court with this information I'm talking about, and go back and listen to this and go back and do the research and look this stuff up and then go to court, because this real firepower that they ass is in trouble. This is what they fearing every day when they go into court. The reason why they not fearing any recusals or anything like that, because we have hit the education intelligence level below 70. So that means we're pretty much illiterate and ignorant to the law. So, as a saying, if you saying you have rights, right, and they ask you what are they, and you can't tell them, a man or a woman that can't explain or explain in law that he has rights has none. So mostly all of us has been dumbfounded, and that's why they able to come and run this sinister game of perpetuity in the courts on us, because we have failed to educate ourselves properly. It ain't for these school systems to educate us. You know what I'm saying? Because we sit around and we waste a lot of time doing dumb shit. Now, money laundering, you can look this up, laundering money instrument under USC 1956. Okay? Make sure y'all look these up. Look up section 7201, 7202, 7206. Get to know these violations, Irish violations, because this is what we're going after these folks for. Okay? All right? Also, Title 26, 2032, capital A, lowercase e 11, is once again is where they have to have a bond. They have to get a letter and a receipt from the secretary that they are tax exempt. Did y'all get that? They have to get a letter and a receipt from the secretary and say they're tax exempt. Now, who's the secretary? That's a big question. The secretary that everyone talks to and hypocrite and all them is the Secretary of Puerto Rico. So the laws and legislation that they are governing us under and making us be 14th Amendment citizens under our knowledge and knowing, we are being brought under the jurisdiction under the legislations of Puerto Rico. And you can find that in the IRC Penal Code, Title 27, Section 280.11. And thereof. And if you find it, and I'm going to tell you, guys, in 2011, they took that off the website. So you'll have a hard time Googling. You can come to it, but they done scratched it out, because they know you can use that title right there alone and come into court and nail their ass. Because we over here under the laws that's protected under the Constitution in America. But you trying me for some legislation laws under the territories of Guam, America, Samoa, the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico. Okay, y'all guys need to, man, look this stuff up. This real firepower right here.
Hey, let me interject right there. I mean, that was beautiful how you just laid that all out. I think a lot of people need to understand that jurisdiction of the United States is different than the republic. When you say republic, you're talking about the democracy. The United States is Puerto Rico, American Samoa, Guam. These are territories.
Yeah, all caps United States.
Exactly.
We're talking about the lower caps. We ain't talking about the lowercase United States for American Republic. See, any time you're dealing with democracy is another name for mobocracy. Or mobocracy. Democracy is another name for mobocracy or mobocracy. To break those words down, what cracy means? Cracy means to rule. Demos. What's demos? That comes from the word demon. So the people is ruled by the demons. How are you folks out there claiming to be Democrats? So you being ruled by demons. Man, but go ahead, Yusef, go ahead, man, get back and go ahead, elaborate. Go ahead, elaborate.
Yeah. No, I was just, you're absolutely correct. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm studying prefixes of words because the grammar that we use is incorrect as well. I had a chance to talk to David Wynn Miller personally, and I'm going to try to have him on the show too. But that's another thing that's come to my realization when you just said that we broke down democracy. That's absolutely correct. That's why I was telling yesterday on the show, women want security. The way secure means away from. I mean, it's away from any kind of care. You don't want love or anything. The words don't mean what we think that they mean. They have absolutely a different meaning. But, man, that was beautiful how you broke that down. I don't think people really – people need to go back and listen to this audio very carefully, look up everything that he's saying. There's a document I'm trying to look at right now because I was looking up some stuff where some other people have been kind of saying what you're saying. There's a document called Nature of the Remedy, where it's asking them for these 1099 OID issues, this W-9, and I never understood. I'm not when it comes to taxes. Taxes just, I can do nothing with the taxes. But I knew that it was a tax liability that they had to have, and I knew that they had to have a bond. But the way that you just explained the intricacies of how that works, I mean, I understand it perfectly. It's beautiful. It's real beautiful.
I appreciate that, my brother. Appreciate that. And then I'm gonna eventually go into how these bonds are securitized, and then take y'all on the little roller coaster that it go. And I'm quite sure you already know, but for the folks that really trying to get it and listen, you know what I'm saying. So I want us to be very, patient with that. If we got to, hear the same
man,
thing.
go ahead, man. Man, the floor is yours, man. Because I'm gonna go back and listen to this. So go ahead and do your thing.
And I'm very humble, man, and I'm very passionate, man. So I'm just, I just want folks to get it. So I just want to make sure that everything is 100 and good. So. But yeah,
good morning, brothers. Let me chime in real quick. Good morning, my brothers.
Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Yahashua, do me a favor. Give me them five discovery questions slowly so we can write them down.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The 5 questions. All right. Now this is what we're gonna go back with. Write this down. Okay. And your unlawful detainee, okay, as them they come in as claiming to be a qualified debt collector, which they're not. So we can come in as the heir, you know what I'm saying, and hold it in due course, laundering of the money instrument. So there's many sections that we can go in and we can file suits against these people, okay? So I'm just pretty much repeating, you know what I'm saying, the same thing. So. And we can go in and say, I accept everything that you've done to me. proof of claim under these discovery questions that, number one, that I am a decedent. Number two, that I have accepted the liability of the decedent. Number three, that I am not the beneficiary of the estate. Number four, that you do not have a tax liability for your alternate valuation on your carryover basis, and that you have to put up your bond for your tax liability. Judge, attorneys, clerks, all public servants. That goes for you. And finally, that you are not making a claim on my estate. Now, if they can answer those 5 questions, they're not going to be able to. Because why? They took your asset, they took your gift, they took your money, they took your security note, and they ain't pay no taxes on it. And they left you with the bill, the tax bill. See, this is very nasty. See, this is what these prosecutors are scared of, you coming in and asking them in court. And they know if they can keep us ignorant, you know, they can keep on running this game. They don't have to go to work. They can sit down on their ass and play paperwork game, and they don't want to work. That's all it is. They want to push paper.
Now that was very interesting. That was very interesting. We're talking about how they're foreign too, because that's absolutely correct. They've given up their citizenship, and they have joined another country. Basically, they're foreign. They've joined. It's almost treason. Would you say?
Right. So check this out. So therefore, they join another country. They got to pay taxes to that country because they working for that country. So what they doing is they don't want to pay the taxes. They ain't nothing more than drug dealers. You know what I'm saying? So what's the difference when a drug dealer ain't working? He take the money. He go buy a $60,000 car, and then the car dealership, the owner is gonna protect his ass because why? He gonna fill out the 1099-A form, 1099-C, the 1099-OID. He gonna do the 1040 morning order, and he gonna put the form 8300 on it because it's anything over $10,000 at that time. Now it's probably down to $3,000-$4,000, but at that time, it's anything over $10,000. You report to that. It goes to the IRS. That's when the feds come get you. Same thing. They working. They got bar membership. That's their registration through the bar. You got 2 corporations. 2 Englishmen, European came. They started what? The Bar Association Corporation and the United States in All Caps Corporation. So they are evading paying taxes to who they work for.
They got us paying the taxes.
So they just switch. That's why when you go in court, they set up trust law. They turn amity court into trust law equity court. But you want to keep it in equity because once you rebut them out of them positions of being executive beneficiary, you want to lock their ass in on their Power Appointment Act. See, now they can't switch it over to amity or none of that. See, they locked. They stuck.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Okay, what about, when you file that into the case, all right, sometimes I've had situations where they ignore when I come in and appoint them with an form. Would you recommend using a Form 56 to appoint them?
Right, so this what I do. Like, say, for instance, like when I was starting off early, before I figured out to do my court, you know what I'm saying, on the administrative side, see, your notary, get you a private notary. Your notary is a deputy judge, secretary of state. The notary is over all the clerks, they over all the attorneys and the judge and prosecutor. They over them. They got more power than them. So when you come over the Power Appointment, you come from your office and her office, or the notary office. You see what I'm saying? But when I used to go in there and had to battle this when I was learning in the field and shit going in there, see what I use what they call a trust res. Trust res document. You know what I'm saying? And under the trust res or the Power of Appointment Act, I appointed all of them trustees. I got a trust res so fast they can't even get out of it. It ain't even doing no talking. You see what I'm saying? Because when you go in as an executive, it's no talking with them documents. See, they want to get you to argue. See, it's like they see it's like an amity. I want to put it. An amity, they see nothing. You see what I'm saying? But they hear everything. But in equity court, it's the opposite. They hear nothing, but they see everything. You understand what I'm saying? So and you like, what the fuck? So you got to know what court, you know what I'm saying, what court are you dealing with? You need to know the cause of action. Like, what court of law am I dealing with? All right, I'm dealing with a criminal. Well, where's the injured party? Where's the injured party? Oh, we're dealing with civil? Oh, we dealing with civil? Oh, well, shoot, at our point where we turn this into equity, I appoint y'all trustees over this said matter. I'm delivering breathing such and such.
Wow.
But I hit that trust res document that appointed my trust. And now check this out, under the trust res document. And then I hit him with the 56 judiciary form. I hit him with the W8 bin. Also, I hit him with the 7525B. I do all the monetary outstanding, which is I do the 1099A, I do the 1099C, I do the 1099 OID, okay? Then I hit it with every 1099-6 cover sheet form. So I take care of the IRS part. So first copy going to go to the IRS, second copy going to go into the court case. Second copy is yours. Then you hit them with that breach of contract and that letter rogatory. But when you file that trust res, you don't do no talking. Only thing, when they call you up, you step up. I am the executive such and such and such of the I'm the executive beneficiary of the all caps name estate, property of the state, such and such, such and such. I am the living, breathing appointed man of God's last will and testament. I appoint you, the clerk manager, as trustee, who appointed this judge as the trustee residing over this case, and the prosecutor as trustee in this case, and to pay $1 million and to pay all the beneficiary and proceeds to me. And you don't shit after. You sit your ass down. You don't say nothing. Because they see everything and they hear nothing. After that, they try to get you to arguing and such and such. When they ask you a question, do you understand such and such? Do I have standing to speak? Yeah, you have standing to speak. Pay the beneficiary. Dismiss all charges to the case. That's it. That's all you got to say. And I guarantee you, when that shit over with, they say, well, I had to just leave the courtroom. I have a brother that can call in right now and tell you I had to just leave the courtroom. I'm sitting there arguing about my $14 million check. Run them folks out the courtroom. Because you can ask them, listen, check this out. When I filed that trust ring, I left something out. When they asked you, all right, they call your name up, blah, 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 and want you to swear. Man, I don't raise my hand. I don't swear none of that garbage y'all talking about. James chapter 5 in the Bible, Yahweh said you take no oath and swear to no one. You let your yes be your yes, your no be your no. Oh, shit. I affirm whatever I need to be said. Man, carry on. Then next thing you know, such and such, or the cap. Do I have standing to speak? I am Yahashua Israel Yahweh. I'm the executive beneficiary of the such and such estates. You are all appointed trustees under the Power of Appointment Act. This manager appointed you trustee, judge, appointed this attorney trustee. All y'all pay the beneficiary 1.5. Dismiss this case, for my spirit existed long before my body. I am the beneficiary of the Creator's last will and testament. Now, this is the key thing. Now, they'll mess around. Blah, 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 blah. You know, they're going to put on some steam and stuff. I sit right there and look at them and smile and everything. I don't come across that bitch or anything. When they ask the question, like they still trying to be the executive because they're trying to tell you what to do to punk you out of your executiveship. Because if they can get you to answer the question, now you revert back to being the trustee. So you be very careful not answering no questions. So when they answer a question, you ask a question with a question. When they ask you a question, blah, 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 blah. Do I have standing to speak? Now, I just appointed you under the Power of Appointment Act, who all are the trustees. So now I'm going to ask, who is the trustee in this case? Now the judge gonna fly off the handle. I'm warning you. I'm gonna hold you in contempt. I'm gonna hold you in contempt. I'm telling you, I'm holding you in contempt. You're gonna do 30 days. 30 days. You gonna ask you a quick. Do you understand? See, anytime they ask you, do you understand? They ask you, are you liable for the bonds? So they slick. They come in. They coming at you. You know what I'm saying? Do you understand? Do I have standing to speak? Do you understand? Do I have standing to speak? Because I'm asking the question with a question because I'm staying in the what? Staying as the beneficiary. Yes, you have standing to speak for and on the record for the second time. The judge and anyone has not responded to the question is who is the trustee in this case for the second time. Now, if you got to ask that question 3 times for and on the record, the judge, the sheriff is supposed to take that judge out of the courtroom, put handcuffs on him, and take him straight to jail. And he know this. Now, this is how you supposed to do this. If you know you got a case that you know you got a judge in there that's going to be violating the Smith Act and running the Harley Act, the first thing you need to do is contact the head sheriff and let the sheriff know about your case coming up and let the sheriff know that you need all his bailiffs to not get involved when you go in on the judge because the judge is going to be committing felony, which is a Title 28, Section 454, 455, which means he's going to be practicing law from the bench. And I'm telling you that you're supposed to lock his ass up because you're on the county side. So the sheriff going to be, I didn't know it, such and such, such. So you put his ass on notice and let him know that I'm going to file a 3949 and I'm going to file criminal charges against you. Because I'm the living, breathing man, and you're not protecting my rights that's under the Constitution that you took a hat for. So you taking a bribe on both sides. So when you tie the sheriff in, he don't call them bailiffs that's working that floor in court. Look, so gonna come in. Y'all just sit back and don't do nothing. So that's how you keep them bailiffs off your ass from locking you up. Talk to that sheriff. Put him on notice first, on ice.
You know,
then when you go in, now you can go in and do your thing.
You know, that's an interesting thing. Our listeners may want to know that the police and the sheriff, I mean, people need to learn. Like, I used to, when people get their car repossessed, I used to make a mistake and tell people to call the police. And every time the police would come, they'd be trying to talk the person into giving this tow truck driver their car. I said, hey, you're the police. But then it dawned on me that the police are not there to protect you. That's the sheriff's job. The police are there to protect everything for the corporation. The bank. The police work for the bank, not for the people.
Right. So how you guys stop a lot of that nonsense, them lock you up when you know you breached on the truck? You're supposed to always do court with the sheriff. Because the sheriff is the ones that got this nonsense going on in the courtroom. So that's how you know the sheriff taking a bribe. That's how you know you got a crooked-ass sheriff. So he needs to be impeached. He needs to be ousted. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you know you got a crooked sheriff wearing both hats. He wearing the corporate hat and he wearing the sovereign hat.
Well, wouldn't you say that the judge is also wearing 2 hats? You know, because these are Article 1 courts, but we do have some Article 3 judges, like the judge took the oath to the Constitution as well. So wouldn't the judge also be wearing 2 hats?
Well, what happening with the judge is, see, the United States Department of Agriculture is paying all the feds, IRS, judges, public officials. They paying their money, right? The risk management is over all that division. So what it is that the judges and them is getting paid on the state side. So when you have a judge that is corrupt, now say if you guys out there that got some cases going on and you go into court and you knowing this judge here is violating Title 28, Section 454, 55. You know he's practicing law from the bench. You know he's committing fraud. You know he's committing treason. You understand what I'm saying? And it's a reason for that. So what you do is, that's a judge that's been taking a bribe. That means he's getting money paid on both sides. That's what you mean by wearing both hats. So now what you need to do is you need to go down to the county comptroller's division office on the county side, county comptroller division, and you ask them folks for a request, which is pretty much similar like a 2046 balance sheet, but you're going to ask them for the financial statement on the case. Look, my case number says I need a financial statement on look, on how much this case is. They're going to give it to you. And you know what I'm saying? You might have some that sit there and play games and shit. You get their name, ask for name, say, look, I'm going to file a Title 42 lawsuit on, you know what I'm saying, for violation of due process of rights. You know what I'm saying? Hit them with the amendment. They ain't going to want to play no games. So you talk to ask for the supervisor, they going to go ahead and give you what you want and file it, because they want their jobs too. You know what I'm saying? So you don't waste your time talking to the clerk who don't know nothing, the person at the desk. You don't know nothing, so don't waste your time with them. They already tell them what to tell you so they can hurry up and turn as many people away. But what you do, you go down to the county comptroller office and you get that financial statement on your case, and this will show the judges getting paid. Now, if he's getting paid on the county side, now you got his ass. The prosecutor, the judge, and all of them is getting paid on the county side. So that means y'all the judge, jury, and the executioner. You know what I'm saying? See, now that's a conflict of interest. So now you can take that financial statement, go and file it in United States District Court as a foreign judgment, get it stamped, then ask for a certified copy of that financial statement with the judge is getting paid on the county side, because he's not supposed to be getting paid on the county side, because why? He's a foreign official. He don't have the bond or the citizenship to be getting paid on the county side. So that means that the county is giving him what? A bribery check. So now you take that statement, file in the United States District Court, get a file in the foreign judgment, get a certified copy of that, and then file into your court case with the affidavit of a motion 473B, void of judgment for a judge for bribe on the tape. Now, three things gonna happen when you see that, and see that you got the U.S. Federal District stamp on it and a certified copy. He knows three things. One of the things he's gonna do, he's gonna recuse himself from your case, or you mess around and get disbarred from the bar association, or he can spend 5 to 20 years in the pokey. See, so anytime you catch them judges like that, just go down to the comptroller office on the county division and get that. And if you get that financial statement, plug it into the case with a motion, with an affidavit motion 473B, void of judgment for a judge taking bribe on the tape. There, it's done. See, once we start getting about it, really. Yeah, hello, what you say? It's chocolate. I'm still in there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you at all.
Okay, I was going to say, explain the breach of contract.
Okay, the breach of contract. All right.
Right.
All right. All right. Well, the breach of contract, we get back to my notes right quick. Well, the breach of contract is basically what you're going to hit these folks with. Like, say, for instance, like y'all got some past cases, and you know what I'm saying, and it wasn't, and you know you wasn't done right, you know what I'm saying, and you want to know, man, how can I go back and, you know what I'm saying, get judgment? So let's say if you got a case, that case could have been done 5 years ago, okay? When you go back in, what you want to do, you want to go in on a specific performance, which is a breach of contract. They breached the contract if they didn't put up the bond. That's how they breached the contract, because they never put up the bond. They supposed to have a bond put up on a carrier basis. So let me go back. You want to go in on a specific of a breach of contract, the breach of contract if they didn't put up the bond. They have to put up the bond to maintain and get out of the tax liability. And that's when you come in, and that's when you come in with those 5 discovery questions that I was talking about. You know what I'm saying? The breach of contract is when you made them fiduciaries under a Power of Appointment Act. You as the executive gave them an order to discharge the debt and pay all the proceeds to you. When they don't do that, they breach the contract. So that's when you can go in and make the complaint with the IRS, also make the complaint in with the SEC. Also, you send in the criminal complaints into to the Commissioner of Finance, the Insurance Commissioner of Finance, and also you send it in to the Governor. and also to the state attorney general. Now let's say, man, in my city, man, we got a crooked state attorney general, man, the sheriff, you know, just like in Memphis, lockdown. Now you got to go over these people's heads now. Now you got to go after where they got their citizenship. Who they got their citizenship? They tied into the United Nations and the Netherlands. So now, here's the key people that you send these criminal complaints to get their bosses to come over here to get on who? To get on risk management, to get on these folks, to get on their ass. And this who you send. You start sending the complaints to the Interpol of France. You send it to the worldwide police that's over the army that's over here. You send it to the International Common Law Court of Justice. You send them to the county rangers. Send them to the U.S. Marshals. Also, you send it to the United Nations Human Rights Division. Also, you contact David Johnstein, who is the right-hand man to the Queen, His Excellency. He handles all the affairs of the Queen that owns the IRS. David Johnstein, you can look him up. Ban Ki-moon is the president of the oath division that they all take their oaths to. And they take 3 oaths, 6 days apart. They take an oath to what? To the organic Constitution for the United States, for America. They also take oath for the Constitution of the state union and also the Constitution to the state.
Wow. Okay.
So this is that. Check this out. Now, a lot of y'all didn't know that the International Common Law Court of Justice back in March 5th sentenced the Queen of England 25 years in prison, sentenced the Prime Minister of Canada 25 years in prison, Prime Minister in Canada 25 years in prison, and that Pope that had to resign for meddling with all them, molesting all them children. Now, the Prime Minister and the Queen of England got sentenced to 25 years in prison. Y'all go back and look this up. For killing over 64,000 indigenous Canadian children at a school. So this is what you bring these public officials to. Turn them in over there, man, in last common law justice. And go back and look in February when they got charged, and then May 5th, they had to turn themselves in 25 years.
I saw when the Pope stepped down. That's what people don't reckon. That's when the Pope stepped down. I mean, I thought it was some type of joke, but the Pope actually stepped down.
No, and you know what? And when I first saw that on news, I told my wife. I said, he stepped down. She said, he stepped down. I said, yeah, he stepped down. And for them kids. What? Why would you say something like that? I said, that's what he did. I said, watch, it's going to come out in the watch. And in a week or so, you're going to find charges. You're going to be trying to take yourself over there to the Vatican. About a week or so, man, I do this all the time. My wife was like, well, I don't know. How the hell you be knowing it? I said, the Creator Yahweh be telling me. I already know. And then next thing you know, boom, I saw it on CNN. Queen of England got charged. Prime Minister got charged. International Common Law Court of Justice. That's where I send my stuff to. And Alberta's Queen Bench Court. Now, if y'all got these crooked folks might judge, I'm going to tell y'all, write this down. Send your cases to Full Disclosure Network. That's like the CNN over watching all these crooked judges and these officials. What they do when you send your stuff to them, they'll put your stuff, they'll interview you, and they'll put your case out there.